This is N.K. Thukral from Edupedia World. I will be covering today the chapter on profession and employment. Before coming to the definition of profession, let's understand what profession is. In simple words, I would like to tell you that an occupation, practice, or vocation requiring mastery of a complex set of knowledge and skills through formal education and or practical experience. Every organized profession, it may be an accounting, it may be a law, it may be medicine, etc., is governed by its respective professional body. Like a chartered accountant, lawyer, or company secretaries, all are covered under profession. Now what profession is? You can see in the slide, profession includes activities which requires special knowledge and skills to be applied by individuals in their occupation to earn fees. People engaged in profession are known as professionals. As earlier I told you that, for example, lawyers, doctors, chartered accountants, etc., etc. Before coming to the characteristics of profession, I would like to brief you what are the features of profession. Number one is, a profession renders a specialized service based upon advanced specialized knowledge and skill and dealing with its problems primarily on an intellectual plane rather than on a physical or a manual labor plane. I think you understood fully. Second is, involves a confidential relationship between a practitioner and a client or an employer. Third feature of the profession is that it is charged with a substantial degree of public obligation by virtue of its profession of a specialized knowledge. Next is that a profession enjoys a common heritage of knowledge, skill, and status to the cumulative store of which professional men are bound to contribute through their individual and collective efforts. And next is, a profession performs its services to a substantial degree in the general public interest. And next is, a professional is bound by a distinctive ethical code in its relationship with clients, colleagues, and the public. These are the general features of a profession. And let us come to the characteristics of profession one by one. Number one is well-defined body of knowledge. Every profession has a systematized body of knowledge which can be learned through instructions only. Second is qualifications. What are the prescribed qualifications of a profession that needs to be attained by a professional? Maybe Institute of Chartered Accountant for Chartered Accountants, or to become advocates by the Bar Council, or a profession like a company secretary, prescribed qualification by the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Like whatever the prescribed qualifications the professional must attain before coming into the practice. Next characteristics of profession is formal training. The formal training is very much under the profession is prescribed by the respective institutes, respective association body, which needs to be attained by a professional. Next is professional association. All professions are affiliated to professional associations which regulates entry, grants certificate of practice, and develops code of conduct. For an example, a lawyer has to become a member of Bar Council to practice law in India. Service motive. What is the motive? The basic motive of a profession is to serve clients with dedication. For example, a task of lawyer is to ensure that his clients gets justice. Similarly, in other profession also, the motive is given and that needs to be fulfilled by the professional. Next is reward, or you can say return. Professional earn income in the form of professional fees. Next is nature of work. Professionals provides consultancy and advisory services to their clients. This is a type of nature of work. This is a type of work which needs to be performed by the professionals. And last is code of conduct. A strict code of conduct exists in every profession members of a profession are required to follow the code sincerely and honestly. Now let us cover next is employment. Now what is employment? In simple words, I can say employment refers to the occupation in which people work for others and get remunerated in return in the form of salary or wages. Those who are employed by others are known as employees, like managers, assistants, clerks, peons, etc. People who engage such employees are known as employer. So there are two types of persons are there. One is employer, another is employee. Now what exactly employment is? How you can define it? That employment is a relationship between two parties. You can say is employer and employee, usually based on a contract. Normally it is in writing, where work is paid for and where one party, maybe a corporation, for profit or not for profit, cooperative or any other entity, is the employees and other is the employee. Now coming to the characteristics of employment, the main features of employment are: number one is contract. Employment is the outcome of a contract between the employer and employee. The contract may be written or in oral. It consists of terms and conditions of employment. Second is terms and conditions. Now what are the terms and conditions? That depends on individual employer and employee's basis. Next is nature of work. Employee is required to perform work as prescribed by the employer. Next is reward or return. The employee is paid salary or wages for his service at regular time intervals. Next is capital investment. Employment does not require any investment and involves negligible risk. It is not like business where capital investment is required. Next is code of conduct. Employee has to follow norms of behavior as laid down by the employer. And next is qualifications. Under employment, employee is required to possess qualifications and training as prescribed by the employer. Students, already we have covered the business, and in this chapter we have covered profession and employment. Now let us see how all these three differs among themselves. Let us take point wise. Number one is mode of establishment or commencement. In business, commencement of business depends on entrepreneur's decision and other legal formalities as if necessary. Whereas under profession, it commences on getting membership of a professional body and certificate of practice. Unless a professional is having certificate of practice, he cannot do practice. So he should have membership also and a certificate of practice also. Similar things applies to the advocates, chartered accountant, all these professionals. Now under employment, it commences on getting an appointment letter and entering into a service agreement. So it's quite different from profession as well as business. Second point is nature of work. Now what is the nature of work under business? It involves providing goods and services to the public. Under profession, it involves rendering of personalized expert services. And under employment, it involves performing work as per service contract or rules of service. Next is qualification. Under business, the businessman does not require any minimum qualifications, whereas in case of profession, it requires expertise and training in a specific field and prescribed qualifications also. In employment, it requires qualifications and training as prescribed by the employer. That depends upon job to job. Now next is reward or return. Under business, reward for business is profit. Under profession, reward for profession is professional fees. And under employment, reward for employment is salary. Next is capital investment. Under business, it requires capital investment as per size and nature of business. Small business, small capital. Large business, high volume of capital, like that. And under profession, it requires limited capital for establishment, just to set up his business for profession for his required capital. And under employment, no capital is required. Next point is risk. Under business, it involves high degree of risk as profits are uncertain and irregular. Under profession, it involves moderate risk as fees is generally regular and certain. And under employment, it does not involve risk as employee gets fixed and regular pay. Next is transfer of interest. Transfer of interest with some formalities are covered under business. Under profession, it is not possible to transfer the interest, and under employment, it is not possible to transfer the interest. Next is code of conduct. No code of conduct is prescribed under business. Professional code of conduct is to be followed under profession, and norms of behavior as laid down by the employer have to be followed under employment. Last is motive. The basic motive of business is to earn profit, and whereas the basic motive of profession is to render services besides earning income. Under employment, the basic motive of employment is to earn livelihood in the form of salary. As we know that profit in business is a main characteristics. And what is the role of profit in business? Let us see. Let us ensure that profit is a main motive of business, of every economic activity. As business is an economic institution, it must earn sufficient profits to cover its cost and to provide for the following reasons justify the role of profit in business. Let us take how it affects survival. The basic objective of any organization is to ensure that it continues to survive and exist in the future. Survival in long run is possible only when organization is able to earn adequate profits. So for a business, survival only can be there when there is a profit in the business. Next is growth. When any business wants to expand or wants to grow, expansion needs sufficient amount of capital. Profit acts as a source of finance to meet expansion requirement of the business. There is no profit, no growth. No profit, no expansion. So, profit has a major role in business for expansion of the business. Next is measure of efficiency. The efficiency and prosperity of a business is measured through the profit it earns. Higher profits indicate the efficient working of business. Next is reward of risk bearing. Any business assumes a lot of risk while carrying out business activities. Profit is considered as a reward for bearing this risk. If there is no profit in business activity, no one would like to assume risk of running business. Last is goodwill. A profit-making company enjoys better goodwill in the market as compared to the loss-making company. A company with better goodwill is able to attract and retain talented workforce also. It becomes easy for such a firm to raise loans or obtain credit from the financial institutions as it has earned more profits. I can also say that profit maximization should not be the sole objective only. In spite of indispensable role of profit in business, it cannot be sole objective of business. Profit maximization is an essential or the leading objective, but not the sole objective. How it can be? Corrupt practices, business may engage in malpractices or unfair means like holding, black marketing, adulteration, etc. in order to achieve the aim of profit maximization. That should not be the objective. Next is leads to exploitation. A business trying to earn more and more profit may exploit workers by paying them less, and low quality goods may be provided to consumers to increase the profits. This should not be also the sole objective. Long-term interest, too much emphasis on profit may lead to ignorance of social responsibility. It is in the long-term interest of the business to pursue social responsibilities along with earning profits. Thank you.